The streets of Aralysis look different today. Instead of the normal bustling around the Nitrolife Convention Center, there are instead fleets of police vehicles and detectives walking about the scene. Within the midst, Elena Rodir, the PPIC detective, is crossing the crime tape, looking as though she just woke up. This response is unprecedented, unlike anything Elena has ever seen before. While she hasn't seen the extent of the crimes that took place within the convention center, she can only insinuate the gravitas based on the presence of law enforcement agencies from across the galaxy. What clues will Elena be able to glean from the crime scene? Will she discover the Confederacy's involvement? All this and more will be covered in this episode of Superstellar.
They sounded serious when they called me. I literally just jumped out of bed and got here as soon as I could. What could have happened to cause all this? They did mention 1 billion credits. Something really bad must have happened. It's not like the board to offer that much money to solve a crime under normal circumstances. There's a deed. Smoking like a chimney as always. Let's see what's up.
Never seen anything quite like it in all my years of detective work. These people had no gang affiliation, no military connections. They had none of that. They just wanted what they perceived to be equality for others. And they were slaughtered like animals.
A deed? What's all the commotion about?
Ah, Elena! I'm glad you could make it. I live here on Aralysis, so as soon as I got the call, I headed straight here. I thought with such a large amount on the line, I'd go in by myself to get a first glimpse at the scene. It's absolute carnage in there. And to make matters worse, they're all civilians. I knew something bad would have happened if they were offering a general grant instead of the usual crime scene assignment, but I wasn't ready for what's in there. I guess they think making all us detective agencies compete will give them a better result.
Any idea on the number of fatalities?
Last I checked, hundreds were dead. Not many wounded, but a fair number of escapees. Whoever's behind this was shooting to kill, and kill they did.
Oh my gosh.
Hey guys, they're running the story on SBC now.
$243. That's how many have been counted dead so far at the Balswa Convention Center in an attack that Syndicate officials are calling terroristic in nature. Syndicate Chief Executive Reza Slembo had this to say.
At this time, I'm wondering many of the same questions. Many of you are wondering, primarily, who and why. The act of pure evil carried out against unarmed civilians can be viewed as nothing but a terroristic act intended to scare Syndicate citizens into submission. We will act swiftly and find the perpetrators of the senseless violence and ensure that they are brought to justice. The other board members and I have created a 1 billion credit reward for the arrest of the perpetrators, and I have authorized my company, Omnicorp, to provide ships to private military forces at a discounted rate, as well as cover the costs of a PMF on any possible raids of unfriendly facilities. This bounty shall allow us to use our beautiful free market to challenge the many talented detective agencies across our great syndicate to discover who committed these crimes, and will enable us to bring them to justice swiftly. These are dark times, but together we will prevail.
Victims of the shooting included citizens from across the entire galaxy, and the Office of the President of the Union had this to say at a press conference when pressed on the matter.
The tragedy in the Syndicate, while not entirely surprising, is deeply saddening, especially for United System citizens caught up in the senseless act. The Union will cooperate with Syndicate investigators where it is appropriate and necessary. However, our top priority will be to ensure the continued safety and security of the Union, and as a response to this attack, we will be stepping up security measures on travel coming in from outside regions while we evaluate the level of terrorism threats externally. This is a failure of the Syndicate, and the Syndicate alone. We will not allow the Union to follow the same steps that led these civilians to lose their lives.
We'll keep updating you as more information comes in. With SBC, I'm Katikla Kukua, and this broadcast has been brought to you by Power Clean. We'll see you after this commercial break.
Nothing we didn't already know. Those Union guys sure will do anything to clamp down on the public, eh? Glad we're not living there.
Yeah, that wasn't very helpful. I guess we shouldn't expect them to know more than we do. Are you guys ready to go in there?
Those guys over there are dressed just like Nand. I wonder if they're also Scions. Maybe they know something we don't. You guys go ahead, I'll catch you inside. I've got a leave to follow.
Okay, Elena. See you later.
And you expect us to just believe that your powers are real?
Your belief is not required. Our results speak for themselves. We are here to provide assistance to law enforcement agencies and to investigate a private matter.
Do you have any information you can share about this case?
Not at this time, no. We have nothing we're able to share with the public.
What do you think the motive is for this crime?
Our opinions are irrelevant. The truth is something that will come out. Speculating about the purpose of this attack is a meaningless endeavor that will only prove to destabilize the public. We're here to investigate a completely separate matter.
Alright, stop the camera, Phil. We can't use any of this. Our careers with OTTO News would be over. We need to find someone else. Someone that'll actually give us a story.
Now's my chance. Hey, I'm Elena Rodir with Public-Private Investigation Corporation. I was wondering if I could ask a few questions.
We don't know anything more than you, sorry. We're investigators like you, not victims. If it makes you feel any better, we're not here for the cash prize.
Wait up. Do you guys know Nand Yates?
Nand? Oh boy, do we. Nand is our group leader. I'm surprised you know about the Psionic Compact. Most people think we're made up, including that newscaster.
I'm very loosely familiar. I met Nand on an investigation like this one. Couple murders I was investigating, and he just so happened to also be there. Why are you guys here?
We're here investigating a psionic event our relay system picked up. Routine stuff, nothing crazy. No significant findings as per usual, but we can never be too safe.
Interesting. Any leads as to what caused that event?
Nothing concrete. There's a guy in there who had some cyanide crystals on his person, but other than that, the scene's pretty clean. These things just happen sometimes. Psionic bursts, especially at large-scale attacks like this, aren't uncommon. We don't have a grasp on psionic energies that would be required to understand why this happens. We just know that it's not an unusual occurrence.
Really? Who's the one with cyanide crystals on them?
You will know exactly the one when you see him. He's attracted quite a crowd in the middle of the building.
That's helpful. Thank you, guys. I'd best get going inside.
Good luck in there, detective. Prepare yourself for what you're about to see. It's pretty bad.
I've seen some stuff at school. I'll be fine. Thanks. I will be fine, won't I?
Sweetie, just hide there. Ain't nothing gonna happen to you, you're gonna be fine.
Where the hell's our money, Rodir?
You really thought you were going to get away with this? You can't just take money and not give it back. That's not how these things work.
Alright, that takes care of Papa Rodir. What do we do to the rest of them?
Well, we can't leave any witnesses now, can we?
Well, this brings back some buried feelings. I need to focus on the job. I can't fail these people. Where's the deed? That crowd over there seems promising, but hard to break through. Pardon me. Excuse me. Sorry.
Hey, she's with me. Let her up here.
Thanks. What do we have here?
I think it's the only clue we're going to get. It's unfortunately not a very conclusive one. I'm sure you noticed the inconsistent blaster wounds on all these people, which gave us nothing, along with the traces of no evidence on the roof, also giving us nothing. This guy appears to have fallen from up there, and yet still, there's nothing. I'm almost impressed at their law-evading abilities.
I figured he fell from up there. Any ID on him?
No, and I'm not confident we'll be able to identify him. We ran some biometrics of his through the Syndicate databases, which turned up nothing. We could try to ask for the unions, but we'll just have to see. It's a race to identify him, but I don't know if that's going to happen. He seems to be a ghost.
Is he special forces or something?
Possibly. I don't know anyone capable of covert actions like this that would target a convention of innocence, though.
I'm sure there are plenty of people that hate others enough to try. Or maybe they just hate the Syndicate.
Yeah, not a great basis to go on. We have plenty of enemies.
A deed. Look at this. No blaster wounds or anything, other than injuries from the impact. I wonder what actually ended up causing him to fall.
Elena, that's a good question. I hadn't thought of that. How would an organization careful enough to remove people from their galactic databases also allow one of their own to be on the floor in front of us? It doesn't add up.
No, it doesn't. It makes even less sense that he would fall down here. Did he get pushed or something? Maybe there's someone on the inside that's vulnerable who we can reach.
It's always possible. Not sure how we'd find that person though, considering we don't even know what organization this man belongs to.
Maybe they'll come to us. I'm going to ask the obvious question. Surely they had cameras in such a massive event hall.
They have cameras, but they haven't yielded anything useful. The security company in charge of surveilling the event claims they have no footage. And the security guards that were supposed to show up apparently just never showed up for their shift.
Well, that's helpful.
Indeed. I'm gonna go interview some victims if you want to join. It might be our only chance to get a lead.
I think I'm going to have a look at the roof. See if I can find anything up there.
Alright. Be safe, Elena. Keep the file updated if you find anything.
Will do. Let's have one more look at this guy. Surely he's got some symbol, colors, something that says who he is. But all he's got is this generic gray uniform that you could buy at any Galactimart. Clearly, whoever these guys are, they don't want us to find out who they are. There's a ton of people out there that hate the Syndicate. There's rebel groups like the People's Fist that work in secret across the Syndicate trying to bring the system down. The Union naturally hates us and would love to see us destabilized. Maybe a gang who wants to profit further from the Syndicate, or even any number of factions in the NZ. But all those ideas have their own problems. The rebels never really take actions against civilians, mostly just against the system itself. I don't think the Union would risk an all-out war over something like this. They hate us, but they're not stupid. Gangs and the NZ aren't out of the question. But there's so many of those. How could we single one out? How could they be this organized? This makes no sense. No motive and no evidence so far. Let's hope the roof gives me some kind of insight. Looks like there's some residue here. Could have expected that. It seems like there's a lot of it around both these skylights. Completely inconsistent, scorching too. Must have been from a bunch of different weapons. Looking at how he's posed down there and the shadow pattern of this skylight, that guy must have been about right here when he fell. He didn't have any wounds on him at all other than those sustained from the fall. Either he slipped and fell while leaving, or he was pushed. The roof is slippery, but those boots he had on should have had plenty of traction. I don't know why someone would commit a crime like this, then push their comrade to his death, giving investigators a chunk of evidence. But I guess to do something like this, they must be a pretty irrational group.
Hey kid, you find anything?
I found that these guys are pretty good at hiding their identities, but I guess we already knew that.
Well, think about this. I know the roof is slick, but I don't think he could have just fallen that way. Especially if he was in a crouched or a prone position. Once he stood up, you'd think he would have to fall a long way to go backwards through this. You think he was pushed?
I think it's definitely possible. I still think that maybe there's a weakness, someone we can exploit to bring these guys to justice.
We have to find that person first, Elena. This case would be much more difficult to solve than it currently seems. You have a very good idea, but that doesn't always guarantee an easy time.
You never let me win, indeed. You're right. Let's not celebrate too early. Let's find a way to track this defector down.
I just like to keep my former assistant detectives honest. It helps not to bog your mind down with the possibilities of what if, and helps you focus on the how.
Speaking of how could someone do this to all these people? How could someone be so ruthless to toss bombs and fire into a crowd of innocent people?
Well, clearly someone sees the error in their ways. Or maybe somebody just ate the wrong person's sandwich. Any plans on where to go from here, detective?
I have a gut feeling. It's probably completely unfounded. But maybe it's just what we need to solve this case. There's dots here that need connecting, and I might be the only detective with the knowledge to connect them. I'm going to make a call to a friend. I think he might be able to shed some light on this.
I can't stop you from going down this rabbit hole, but I will advise you, don't take too much time on this. It's a lot of money for the company, but there's a massive risk that it will remain unsolvable.
I'll solve it. Don't you worry.
Okay, Elena. I will see you back at the office.
Nand Yates speaking. May I ask who's calling?
Nand, it's Elena. Could we meet up sometime to discuss what happened on Sustantia? If you could bring some of your organization's research, I'll bring some of ours. I've got some questions that I think you might be able to help answer.
Oh, Elena. I was certain this was another enticing offer to extend my ship's warranty, despite the fact I don't own one. Haha. Of course, it'd be a pleasure to meet up. I have to ask, how much data are you wishing to see? Sadly, I'm not at liberty to discuss everything we've done.
I'm just interested in recent cases like the Sustantia one, where you guys got somewhere to investigate a psionic event, but there wasn't anything there.
I'd be pushing my authority around here, offering confidential compact information to you. But I'll put together a file and see what I can share.
Perfect. Do you have a place we could meet up? Ideally not in the Union, since those new restrictions might not make that the easiest place to meet.
You just want to make me go back through UTSA, don't you? I'm sure it'll be fun to explain why I took a trip out to the NZ. No worries, of course. How about the Miramore Diner on Cactavia? I could kill for some good Grogan food about now. It's about the one thing Verona lacks.
Sounds perfect. How's your schedule looking?
Name a time and I'll be there. Preferably near the local breakfast time. I need to experience a Shoshongi scramble again.
Perfect. I'll set something up. This line should be enough for that. Just pay attention to your messages and add it to our calendar.
Sounds splendid. Thank you, Miss Rodir. I look forward to speaking with you again, and I hope I can be of some help.
Thanks, bye. If signs were at Sustantia, and signs were here, there has to be some kind of connection. I don't buy that these things just happen. It's two mass murders. These things don't just happen. I don't know enough about the compact to know if they're behind it, but they clearly know something is going on. Something more than a coincidence. My gut tells me I'm right here, that these signs are the key to cracking this case wide open. At the very least, Their cooperation surely will give me some semblance of a lead, which is all I need right now. These people, wherever they are, should watch out. The Syndicate is coming at them with their full force.